Okay, another filament. This is California filament, even though it's made in China, but the company is in California. So this is California filament. They only sell PETG as far as I can tell, and that's what we need right now. We have been using this YOYI PETG. This is translucent purple. But we need black for what we're printing right now. So unfortunately we ran out of our black YOYI. We tried to buy it again. It said it wouldn't ship to California. And searching around, it seems like if they want to ship to California, they got to put a Prop 65, which is a cancer warning sticker, on their filament, which I guess they didn't want to do, or didn't want to do right now, hopefully. Other colors are still available, so maybe there's a grandfather clause or something where if they already have the product sitting on the shelf, then they don't have to put the sticker on until a new shipment comes in. In any case, the print requirements for the California filament are very similar to what this says. This is 220 to 240. We've been printing it at 235, and this says the same thing. And they just recommended 240 because that's in the middle, I guess. Hopefully we can print this at 235. We can go up to 240 if we need to. And there's nothing much on the outside. It says PETG 1 kilogram. That's what we want. We're going to be checking to see if we got our money's worth. And there's a window here to see what's inside. So let's take the reel out. And it's got a nice vacuum on it. Not quite as good as some of the other ones. Well, it's about the same. And it's got a silicone packet. So let's get our scissors and cut this open. Nice vacuum release there. It's got kind of a fancy reel here with spiral shapes for the spokes. Got a nice shiny black color, that's what we want. And it's got the silicone packet. So again, it says print temperature, California filaments. So let's weigh this and we'll see if we got what we paid for it. So I don't know how much this reel weighs, but we'll be using a YOYI reel too. It looks similar. Now this might be a little heavier, but that's okay. Let's just weigh it with a raw weight to start with. Alright, and we got 1182 grams. So now we're going to zero it based on this reel. So re-tare it. So this, like I say, I think might be heavier. It's hard to tell. Alright, so this is 1,013 grams. So I'm pretty sure we got what we paid for. The filament looks pretty well wound on here, and it's got I like this reel better than the YOYI one because YOYI only has one place around the reel to catch the end of the filament. This has one on each side, so we have to go an extra half a loop around to try to be able to trap the filament when get to the end. So alright, so let's put this on the machine. We're going to do the temperature tower as usual just to check, and then we'll do the bed adhesion and layer test. Okay, here's our usual temperature tower. I call it the pointy temperature tower because that's this point over here. This is really a good test. It does the bridging, which most temperature towers do, to see if we have any sagging and if your cooling is working okay, and the layer adhesion. But this little and then there's some indented letters here, which these are pretty small, so you can't really get much from those. But this point over here, if this is all blobby or missing, then you know there's some problem with that temperature. In any case, we know we don't want to print below 230 for sure, so we're just going to go from 230 to 240 for PETG from now on. And I'll have a link to this temperature tower code on Thingiverse. And this is my variation because I added this little label over here to tell you what kind of filament you're printing. So you can change to PET or PLA or whatever, ABS. So you have a starting temperature, which is at the bottom, and then you have an ending temperature, and then you have the steps, so every 2 degrees. So we have been printing at 235. So I didn't set one right at that level, but I don't think it matters that much. So go ahead and we save this to an ST. We rendered it by pushing this button, and then we save it to an STL. Then we come over to we import it into Simplify 3D, and then we set up the temperature profile. So Simplify 3D makes it super easy to set up a temperature profile. So these are the settings. So the first layer width, 110%. That gives you a little bit of a brim here on the bottom, which makes it stick better. And then for temperatures, we've been printing all of our PETG at 65 degrees bed temperature, so we're going to stick with that. If you have it too high, it can stick too well, and it can cause problems. So, and here's where you put your temperature gradient in. So for the first layer, up through layer 52, which is at the top of this first bridge here that's labeled 240, you have one at 240. So you always want to start with the high temperature at the bottom, because you might get clogging at the lower temperatures. So you don't want to start with a clog at the bottom, obviously. So you want to start it high and go low. And so the way this tower works out, you have these different intervals for each temperature that you want to change to. So you have to edit these to match what you said here. And then for cooling, we were running, we've always had 0 fan at layer 1, but we were running 20% fan at layer 2, but I had some layer adhesion problems, so I changed it to 10%, and that seems to be working great in the winter. So it's in the low 50s in the garage, sometimes a little bit below 50, and the humidity is pretty high. So this seems to be working great, so I'm going to try that with this PETG. This is a new one. And we'll go ahead and say prepare to print. Here's our, and then here's our print, and we can simulate what it's doing. This is where you figure out where those layers are. So here's layer 52. Here's layer 52, and then the next layer is when we want to start the next temperature. So this is when we start the next temperature. This is all going to be at 238, and so on. So that's how you can figure out what layer each temperature is supposed to be. And we save this to a disk, and then we put it into a SIM card, and we put that in the printer and print from there. So when I first bought the printer, I was printing interactively, but I don't really need to do that anymore, so I don't do it. There's some benefit to doing it because you can see what's going on the screen. Once you've printed a lot of stuff, you don't really need to watch it on the screen. You can figure out what's going on. So it's just simpler to do this inside where it's nice and warm. All right, so we'll try that, and we'll switch over to the time lapse and see how that turns out. Looks like we had a good print. I'm encouraged so far by this filament. It was on sale, so if this works, I'm going to buy some more right away before it goes off sale. There's some filament from eSun, which I got a different kind. That's a little cheaper than that. Actually, the Matter Hackers is also cheaper. Okay. Alright, so let's see how this is printing. So we have 240 at the bottom, 238, 236. So all of these look fine. The pointy thing is looking good pretty much all the way up. So I'm really happy with this. The bed adhesion was perfect, so 65 is good for that. And I think we can print any of these. So I think 235, which is, there's a little bit of sagging as you get to higher temperatures. So we're going to print this to 235 like all the other PETG we've been printing, so that's encouraging there. we got to make sure we get the layer and bed adhesion. This is the, you saw that purple YOYI, so when I changed the parameters slightly as far as cooling goes, I did another one of these layer and bed adhesion tests. And this is super strong, which is what we want, obviously. And this joint here really tests whether you have good layer adhesion. And the inset and relief printing shows how well you're cooling while you're printing to make sure it's nice and crisp. So this is a really great test. There's a link for this in the description. So we're going to try this same test with this using the same parameters, which is 237. I'll explain that in a minute. And for the extrusion temperature, and 65 for the bed, with 10% fan after the second layer. So I've been switched to 235 for the extruder. 237 instead of 235 because once the fan turns on, the printer has trouble holding it at 237. It holds it at 235, which is what we want. So the fact that the first layer is a little bit warmer is fine. That's a lot of people print the first layer warmer, so because there's no fan at that point. So we're going to do this test, and if it comes out like this, we're good to go. Okay, looks like we got a good print. There's one string coming from the top corner, which we always see, which is no big deal. I'm going to grab this filament that's dripping down here. So this filament is flowing really well. You can see because it drips down there. Let's, I guess that's something I have to get off. Get this off of here. So bed adhesion is perfect. Let's check the bottom, see how clean it is. So the bottom is clean. The teeny blob here at the front, that's not great, but let's check the strength. I'm squeezing this hard and it's not cracking. So okay, here's the last one we did with the YOYI filament. It has the same strength characteristics. Little blob, oh no, that was just a little string on it. Okay, so that must have been when I didn't do an outline around this, so I found with this printer, even though it does a wipe move at the beginning here, by the time it gets over to where the print is, the first little bit of the outline of the first layer doesn't print. So you can get a little blobbing thing. Oh, there could have been some dripping filament or whatever. So if I'd done an outline, it would have been a perfect. I wouldn't have seen that, so I'm not worried about that. Let's look at the lettering. That out. So the lettering, turn this light on. There. So lettering down here looks really good. It's nice and crisp. And this top surface looks shiny and nice and smooth. So there's no blobbing. There's no little defects along the back corner there. And then the inset lettering also looks really clean. Yeah. Alright, so I'm super happy with this. So for a quote-unquote fun print, I'm going to print an actual product that I'm selling. That's why I got this. I was in a hurry to get this because I came out with a new product and sold out right away. So that's always encouraging. And so I need to print some more, and I'd run out of filament. So and I tried to buy the YOYI stuff, and it wasn't available. So I started looking around, found this California Filament PETG, and I think it's a winner. So before I start that print, though, I'm going to go order some more while it's still on sale. The black color is on sale for who knows how long. So, but I'll go ahead and start the product print, and I'll do a time lapse of that, and then we'll look at it when it's done and see how it came out. While this was starting, I wanted to point out that I'm printing this with the top on, all pushed down all the way and the door closed. That's the way I print all PETG, no matter what the temperature in here. So right now it's 56 degrees, 73% humidity. It's been raining the last few days, or at least it's been cloudy and drippy. So PETG, fully closed enclosure, the door closed, the top on. So forth. So. Okay, let's check it out. It looks pretty good. Like I said before, if you want to clean first layer, you need to put an outline. So this does have an outline around it. Bed adhesion is good. Stuck nicely. It's got one string that seems to be a recurring problem, but that's not a big deal. Alright, so let's check this out. So the bottom looks really clean and not much stringing. So this actually looks pretty good, and the strength is good. Needs to cool off. So this is what we were trying to make. This is the one I made with the YOYI PETG. And this is what we made. So you can see, basically identical. All right. So the California Filament is a good source of PETG, at least black anyway. And I'm happy with the results. And you might be wondering what this is. This is a part of a dashboard for the Outer Rim, Star Wars Outer Rim board game. So you have a lot of cards and other things that you have to stick underneath some other pieces of paper and cardboard. And if you don't have a dashboard like this to keep everything organized, then it's easy for everything to get dislodged. So this helps keep everything in place. I'll put a link to this product in the description. So this is my quote-unquote fun print. I'm not having time for fun prints lately because I'm making products. So when I have a new filament, it's because I'm replacing a filament that I've already got. So I think it's important to work. I mean, I'm doing 3D printing to sell things, so that's what my channel's about. The best way to use your printer to get consistent results, and if you're so inclined to sell them. So anyway, thumbs up for California Filament. I bought 2 more reels so I can keep printing. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Post a comment if you have any questions or ideas, and I'll try to respond. That's all for now, but more videos are coming, and if you want to see them, please subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification icon if you don't want to miss one. This is Beta Cygni signing out, and keep looking up.